In a distant galaxy, on a planet called Varnak, there was a big academy where students from all over the galaxy came to learn. Among them was Zira, a bright and curious alien student. She had purple skin, bright green eyes, and long, flowing hair that shimmered in the light. Zira loved science and technology and dreamed of making great discoveries. One sunny afternoon, Zira sat at her desk in the academy library. The library was enormous, filled with tall shelves of books and glowing screens. Students bustled around, studying and chatting. But Zira was focused. She was working on a school project about the history of the Galactic Council, the powerful group that ruled many planets. As Zira searched through old records, she came across a dusty file labeled Classified Black Warships. Her heart raced. She had heard whispers about these warships, but never thought they were real. Intrigued, she opened the file, revealing documents filled with strange symbols and diagrams. As she studied the information, her eyes widened in shock. The black warships were not just a myth. They were real and more terrifying than she imagined. The documents explained how these ships could move silently through space, hiding from the eyes of the galaxy. They were designed to attack unsuspecting planets without warning, and Earth was on the list of targets. Zira felt a chill run down her spine. This information was dangerous. What should I do? She thought, her mind racing. Zira knew that she had to share this information, but who would believe her? The Galactic Council was powerful and would not take kindly to anyone exposing their secrets. After a moment of hesitation, she decided she needed help. She would tell her best friend Jake, a human exchange student who had come to study at the academy. Jake was different from the other students. He had a charming smile, messy hair, and an adventurous spirit. They often studied together, and Zira knew she could trust him. Zira quickly left the library and rushed to find him. She spotted him in the outdoor courtyard, sitting on a bench and reading a book. "Jake! You won't believe what I found!" Zira exclaimed, breathless and excited. Jake looked up, his blue eyes curious. "What is it, Zira? You look like you just saw a ghost. I found documents about the Galactic Council's black warships," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're real and they plan to attack Earth." Jake's eyes widened. "Are you serious? What do you mean? How do you know this?" Zira pulled him aside, away from prying ears. She explained everything she had discovered in the library, the secret files, the warships, and the Council's plans. As she spoke, she saw Jake's expression change from disbelief to concern. "This is huge, Zira! We have to tell someone," Jake said, his voice urgent. "But who will believe us?" Zira replied, feeling overwhelmed. "The Council has so much power. They'll just deny it." Jake nodded, understanding the risk. "Maybe we can find proof. If we can gather more evidence, people will listen." Zira's mind raced. She knew Jake was right. They needed to dig deeper. "I could try to hack into the Council's database and find more information," she suggested, a spark of determination in her voice. "That's risky, but it might be our only option," Jake said, his brow furrowing in thought. "If we can get the truth out, we can warn everyone on Earth. But we need to be careful." Zira felt a mix of fear and excitement. She had never done anything so daring before. But she couldn't ignore the danger facing her planet and her friend's home. "Let's do it," she said firmly. "We have to act fast." As they walked back to the academy, Zira felt a newfound sense of purpose. Together, they would uncover the truth and expose the Council's dark plans. Little did they know, their lives were about to change forever. Zira and Jake sat in a small cafe on the academy campus. The air was filled with the sweet smell of alien pastries and the sound of laughter from other students. But instead of enjoying their surroundings, Zira's mind was racing with thoughts of the black warships and the danger they posed to Earth. "I can't believe what we discovered," Jake said, his voice low. "If the Council really plans to attack Earth, we have to act quickly." Zira nodded, her heart pounding. "We need more evidence. Just showing those documents won't be enough. People will think we're lying." "Right," Jake replied, taking a sip of his drink. "If we can hack into the Council's database, we might find something that proves their plans. But that's really dangerous." Zira took a deep breath. She knew he was right. Hacking the Council's system was risky, but it was the only way to gather solid proof. "I can do it. I've learned some computer skills in class," she said, trying to sound confident. Jake looked worried. "What if we get caught? The Council has eyes everywhere. They won't hesitate to punish us. Zira thought about that. She had heard stories of students who got into trouble for breaking the rules. But the thought of doing nothing while Earth was in danger was even scarier. We can't just sit back and wait for them to attack. We have to fight back somehow, she insisted. Jake hesitated, weighing the options in his mind. Finally, he nodded. Okay, let's make a plan. If we're going to do this, we need to be smart about it. They quickly sketched out a plan on a napkin, deciding to meet after classes in Zira's dorm room. They needed to keep their operation secret, so they agreed not to tell anyone else. The more people who knew, the greater the risk of getting caught. After classes, Zira felt a mix of excitement and fear. She walked to her dorm room, her mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead. She arrived and found Jake waiting for her, his laptop open and ready to go. "Are you ready?" Jake asked, looking at her with determination. Zira nodded, her heart pounding. "Let's do this." They began to work together, and Zira quickly typed away on her laptop. She knew she had to access the Council's secure network without being detected. With each keystroke, she felt the weight of their mission pressing down on her. As she navigated through the layers of security, Zira explained what she was doing. "First, I need to create a fake identity to get into their system. Then I'll search for any plans related to the black warships." Jake watched, impressed. "You're doing great. Just be careful." After a tense few minutes, Zira finally accessed the Council's network. The screen lit up with information, and Zira's eyes widened in disbelief. There were blueprints of the black warships, details of their weapons systems, and even a list of targeted planets. "Look at this!" she exclaimed, pointing at the screen. "This proves everything!" Jake leaned in, his eyes filled with excitement. "We need to save this before they notice we're in here." Just as Zira began to download the files, an alert flashed on the screen. "Warning, unauthorized access detected!" Panic surged through Zira. "Oh no, we have to get out of here!" She quickly tried to cancel the download, but it was too late. The system was locking her out. "Come on, Zira! We have to leave now," Jake urged, fear in his voice. Zira's fingers flew over the keyboard as she desperately attempted to erase their traces. Just then, the door swung open and a security officer stepped inside, looking suspicious. "Zira, what's going on?" he demanded, eyeing the laptop. Zira's heart raced. She knew they had to act fast. We were just studying," she stammered, trying to sound innocent. The officer frowned, stepping closer. "Let me see that computer." With no time to think, Zira quickly shut down the laptop. "It's just a school project," she said, hoping to buy some time. Jake shot Zira a worried look, knowing they were in serious trouble. "Let's get out of here," Zira whispered to Jake, her mind racing. They both knew they had to think quickly. The risk they took was already becoming real, and they needed a way to escape. Zira and Jake stood in the dimly lit room of Zira's dorm, their hearts racing. They had just escaped the clutches of the security officer, but now they had a bigger challenge ahead. They had gathered proof of the Galactic Council's plans, and they needed to share it with the universe. "We can't just keep this to ourselves," Jake said, pacing back and forth. "If we want to stop the black warships, we need to tell everyone." Zira nodded, feeling the weight of their mission. "But how? The Council will try to silence us if they find out. We have to be careful." After thinking for a moment, Jake had an idea. "What if we present the evidence at the next Galactic Council meeting? Everyone will be watching. If we can get the truth out there, people will listen." Zira's eyes lit up. "That could work. But how will we get into the meeting? It's highly secure. I have a friend who works in the Council's communication team. Maybe he can help us get access," Jake suggested. "That's a great idea." "Who is it?" Zira asked, curious. "His name is Leo. He's a good guy, but he might be hesitant to help us." "We need to convince him," Jake replied, determination shining in his eyes. With their plan in place, Zira and Jake quickly made their way to the Council headquarters. It was a massive building made of shining metal, towering over the other structures in the city. As they approached, Zira felt a mix of excitement and fear. The fate of Earth could depend on what they were about to do. They reached the entrance and found Leo sitting at a desk. He looked surprised to see Jake and Zira. "What are you two doing here?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "Leo, we need your help," Jake said urgently. "We discovered something terrible about the Council's black warships, and we need to present the evidence at the next meeting." Leo's expression shifted from surprise to concern. "You're serious? You know how dangerous that is?" Zira stepped forward, her voice steady. We have proof that the Council plans to attack Earth. If we don't act now, many lives will be at risk." Leo looked conflicted. He glanced around, making sure no one was listening. "Okay, but you have to be careful. If the Council finds out what you're planning, they won't hesitate to punish you." "We understand," Jake replied, grateful for Leo's help. "We just need access to the meeting." Leo nodded. "I can arrange it, but you need to be ready for anything. The Council doesn't take kindly to people who expose their secrets." With Leo's help, Zira and Jake prepared for the meeting. They practiced what they would say and how they would present their evidence. Zira felt nervous but determined. This was their chance to protect Earth and expose the Council. On the day of the meeting, Zira and Jake arrived early. They stood in a large hall filled with representatives from many planets. The atmosphere was tense, and Zira could feel the eyes of the Council members on them. She took a deep breath to steady her nerves. As the meeting began, Zira and Jake watched the Council leaders discuss various topics, but their minds were focused on the task ahead. Finally, Leo signaled to them that it was time to present. Zira's heart raced as they stepped forward. "Excuse me, everyone," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "We have important information to share about the Galactic Council's black warships." The room fell silent and all eyes turned to them. Council members exchanged nervous glances. "What is the meaning of this?" one of them demanded, looking angry. Jake stepped up, holding the evidence in his hands. "We found documents that prove the Council plans to attack Earth with these warships." "We cannot allow this to happen!" Gasps filled the room. Zira could see the shock on the faces of many representatives. They quickly shared the blueprints and information they had gathered, showing the details of the warships and their weapon systems. As Zira spoke, she noticed the Council members growing more agitated. "You will regret this," one of them shouted, but Zira pressed on. "This is not just about Earth. It's about all of us. If the Council attacks, who will be next?" she pleaded. The room buzzed with murmurs. Zira felt a surge of hope as she saw some representatives nodding in agreement. Maybe, just maybe, they could turn the tide. The truth was out, and there was no turning back. Zira and Jake had taken a huge step in their fight against the Galactic Council, but they knew the battle was far from over. The room was filled with tension as Zira and Jake stood before the Galactic Council. The murmurs of the crowd faded into silence. All eyes were on them, and Zira felt her heart pounding. This was it. They were facing the Council, and they needed to stay strong. Council members whispered among themselves, their faces a mix of anger and disbelief. Zira could see the leader of the Council, a tall alien with sharp features and glowing eyes, standing at the front. His name was Chairman Vexar, and he had a reputation for being ruthless. "Who do you think you are to accuse us of such things?" Chairman Vexar demanded, his voice booming across the hall. "You have no evidence!" Jake stepped forward, clutching the documents tightly in his hands. "We have proof, Chairman. The plans for the black warships show your intention to attack Earth." Zira nodded, her voice steady. "We found these blueprints in the Council's database. If you look closely, you will see the target is Earth." A ripple of surprise passed through the crowd as they examined the documents Jake held. Some representatives leaned forward, eager to see what was being revealed. Others looked uneasy, glancing at Vexar. "How did you obtain this information?" Vexar asked, his tone suspicious. "You are just students. This is highly classified material." "We risked everything to uncover the truth," Zira replied. "We couldn't just stand by while innocent lives were in danger." The chairman's expression darkened. "You are playing a dangerous game. The consequences of your actions could be severe." Zira felt a wave of fear wash over her, but pushed it aside. "The real danger is ignoring what you are planning. If you go through with this attack, you will not only harm Earth, but also damage your reputation among other planets." Some representatives nodded, their expressions thoughtful. They seemed to be considering Zira's words. Jake seized the opportunity to speak again. "This is a chance for the Council to show that it cares about peace. By stopping this attack, you can unite us instead of dividing us." The room buzzed with conversation as the Council members debated among themselves. Zira held her breath, hoping they would listen. She could see that not everyone supported the chairman's aggressive stance. Finally, Vexar raised his hand, silencing the crowd. "Your accusations are serious, and I will not dismiss them lightly. However, you have put yourselves in a very risky position." Zira's heart sank, fearing they might be thrown out or punished for speaking out. "But isn't it worth the risk?" she pleaded. "You have the chance to prevent a war. You can choose peace." The chairman's expression softened slightly. Peace is always preferable, but how do I know you are not lying to gain attention? The council must investigate these claims. Zira took a step forward, determination shining in her eyes. We are not lying! We are here because we believe in a better future for all planets. We have information that can help you prove our claims. Vexar paused, contemplating Zira's words. Very well, we will investigate. But know this. If you are found to be deceiving the council, the punishment will be severe. The crowd erupted in murmurs again, some cheering for Zira and Jake, while others remained skeptical. Zira glanced at Jake, relieved but aware that their fight was not over. Thank you for hearing us, Jake said, trying to maintain his composure. We just want to protect our home. Leave this evidence with us, Vexar ordered. We will conduct an inquiry. Until then, you will remain under our watch. Zira and Jake exchanged worried glances but nodded. They knew they had done all they could for now. They stepped back from the podium, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. As they walked away, Zira whispered to Jake, "Do you think they will really investigate?" "I hope so," Jake replied. "But we can't sit back and wait. We need to find out what they discover. We can't let this go." With a sense of urgency, Zira and Jake made a plan to keep a close eye on the council's actions. They knew they had to stay vigilant and continue their fight for Earth's safety. Their journey was far from over, and they were prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The atmosphere was charged with tension as Zira and Jake stood on the observation deck of the Galactic Council headquarters. They had been waiting for days, and now they could see the black warships preparing for launch. The Council had decided to proceed with their plan, and Zira felt a wave of dread wash over her. "We have to stop them!" Zira said, her voice filled with urgency. "If they attack Earth, it will be a disaster." Jake nodded, his face pale. "But how? We're just students. We don't have a fleet or weapons." Zira thought for a moment, her mind racing. "Maybe we don't need a fleet. We can use what we have, information and people who care about Earth." Suddenly an idea struck her. "Let's gather allies. We need to warn Earth and get everyone ready for what's coming." Jake's eyes lit up. "That's a great plan. We can use Leo to spread the word." Without wasting any time, Zira and Jake rushed to find Leo. They found him in the communications center, typing furiously on a console. "Leo, we need your help!" Zira exclaimed. Leo looked up, surprised. "What's going on?" "The Council is launching the black warships. We need to warn Earth and rally support," Jake explained quickly. Leo's expression turned serious. "I can send a message to the Earth defense teams, but it won't be easy. The Council's security is tight. Just do it. We don't have much time," Zira urged. Leo nodded and began typing a message. Zira watched nervously as he sent the alert. Moments later, they heard alarms blaring throughout the building. The Council was on high alert. "Everyone listen!" Vexar's voice boomed over the loudspeakers. "We are on the brink of a crucial mission. Prepare the black warships for launch!" Zira felt a knot in her stomach. "We have to move quickly. If we can delay the launch, we might have a chance." Jake turned to Leo. "Can you hack into their systems and stop the countdown?" "It's risky," Leo said, "but I can try. Just keep everyone distracted." Zira nodded, her heart racing. They needed to create chaos. "Let's make a scene." Zira, Jake, and Leo rushed into the main hall where council members were gathered. Zira took a deep breath and shouted, "Stop! The black warships will destroy Earth!" The room fell silent as everyone turned to look at them. Vexar glared, his expression furious. "How dare you interrupt? You are in serious trouble!" Jake stepped forward, determined. "You can't attack Earth." "It's wrong!" "We know about your plans." The council members whispered among themselves, unsure of what to do. Zira could see some of them looking conflicted, their loyalty wavering. While the council was distracted, Leo slipped away to the control room. Zira and Jake kept the attention on themselves, pleading with the council to reconsider their actions. "We're not enemies! We want peace!" Just then, alarms blared again. "Security breach! Security breach!" A voice echoed through the hall. The council members looked around in panic. Zira's heart raced. "Leo must be doing it! He's trying to stop the launch!" Vexar shouted. "Find them! Do not let them disrupt our plans!" Zira and Jake exchanged glances, knowing they had to buy Leo more time. "We won't let you harm Earth," Jake declared. "You're making a mistake." The council members began to argue, some supporting Vexar, while others were swayed by Zira and Jake's words. This was their moment. If you launch those ships, you will be the ones to start a war, Zira urged. Think about the consequences. In the control room, Leo was typing furiously, trying to access the launch system. Come on, he muttered to himself, sweat dripping down his forehead. Just then, a voice rang out from the speakers. Launch sequence initiated! Zira felt panic surge through her. No! We have to stop it! In a moment of desperation, Zira took a deep breath and shouted, Everyone! We need your help! If we unite, we can stop this war! Some representatives began to nod, their doubts fading. Slowly, more voices joined Zira's plea, echoing throughout the hall. The council members looked torn, unsure of what to do. In the control room, Leo finally found the right codes. With a swift click, he hit enter. The countdown stopped, and the warships were halted. The crowd erupted in cheers as Zira and Jake felt a wave of relief wash over them. They had done it. They had stopped the council's attack. Zira smiled at Jake. We did it! We saved Earth! Jake grinned back, filled with joy. They had faced the council and won, but their battle for peace was only beginning. Together they could make a difference, not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy.